Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." The same applies to relationships. Being prepared means recognizing the warning signs before it's too late. Women reveal their true nature through their words, and if you're paying attention, you'll see the red flags before you invest your time, energy, and emotions. Today, we're diving into the 7 phrases that should make any man pause and reconsider. These are not harmless statements. They are insights into how she thinks, how she views relationships, and ultimately, how she will treat you. Watch until the end, because knowing these signs could save you from months or even years of wasted effort. If you find value in this, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. I can change him. A woman who believes she can change a man is not drawn to him for who he is. She is drawn to the fantasy of who she wants him to become. This is not love. This is not admiration. It is control wrapped in the illusion of care. A woman like this does not see a man as an equal partner. She sees him as a project, a rough draft she can refine, polish, and mold into her vision of the perfect man. And this is where the problem begins. Because no man who values himself should ever allow another person to dictate his evolution. A man should grow, evolve, and become better over time, but that growth should be driven by his own will, not by someone else's agenda. A woman who seeks to change you does not respect you as an individual with your own principles, ambitions, and identity. She is not interested in learning about who you truly are. She is only interested in seeing how well you fit into the role she has written for you in her mind. If you resist, she will view it as defiance. If you conform, she will view it as weakness. Either way, you will never truly win. This type of woman does not enter a relationship for companionship, she enters it for control. She will frame her attempts to reshape you as helping or guiding. She will tell you that she only wants what's best for you. She may say things like, "I'm just trying to make you better," or, "If you really loved me, you would change." These are not words of support. They are tactics of emotional manipulation. Her love is conditional, tied to whether or not you comply with her expectations. If you refuse to be molded, she will claim you are ungrateful. If you resist, she will accuse you of being stubborn, difficult, or unwilling to grow. But the real question is, who gave her the authority to decide what kind of man you should be? A Stoic man understands that self-improvement is a journey that must come from within. He does not need external validation to dictate his progress. He does not bend his principles to accommodate someone else's vision of what he should become. He walks his own path, on his own terms. If a woman truly loves a man, she will accept him as he is, not as an unfinished project to be completed. Love is about respect, not control. But a woman who believes she can change you will never be satisfied. Even if you reshape yourself to fit her expectations, she will find new flaws, new improvements to demand, new ways to critique and correct you. And the moment you no longer align with her vision, the moment you stop being the obedient project she expected, resentment will take root. She will see you as a failure, not because you actually failed, but because you did not become what she wanted. The truth is, she was never in love with you to begin with. She was in love with the idea of you, or the potential, the fantasy, the man she thought she could sculpt. And once that illusion shatters, she will either try harder to bend you to her will, or she will discard you and move on to the next project. This is why men who allow themselves to be shaped by a woman's expectations often feel drained, disrespected, and ultimately abandoned. Because their worth was never measured by who they truly were, but by how well they fit into someone else's vision. A Stoic man does not allow himself to be manipulated into becoming someone he is not. He does not sacrifice his core values for temporary validation. He recognizes that a healthy relationship is built on acceptance, not coercion. A woman who truly respects a man will never try to rewrite his personality, dictate his choices, or force him to fit into a pre-made mold. She will support his growth, but she will not attempt to control its direction. At the heart of this issue is a simple truth: the man's evolution is his own responsibility. No woman should dictate who he becomes, just as he should not seek to change her. If a woman cannot love you as you are, she does not truly love you at all. A Stoic man knows this, and he refuses to engage in relationships that are built on illusions. He does not seek validation in a woman's approval. He finds it in his own unwavering sense of self. In the end, the greatest strength a man can possess is the ability to remain true to himself. He does not bend for the sake of fleeting affection. He does not compromise his essence to fit into someone else's expectations. And most importantly, he does not waste his time on a woman who does not see him as enough, exactly as he is. Chapter 2: I've cheated more than once. A woman who casually admits to repeated infidelity is revealing something far more alarming than just a history of bad decisions. She is exposing a fundamental flaw in her character. She is showing you that she does not value commitment, loyalty, or the emotional devastation she has inflicted on others. A single act of betrayal can sometimes be attributed to a lapse in judgment, a moment of weakness, or even external circumstances. But when infidelity becomes a pattern, it ceases to be an accident. It becomes a choice. When a woman tells you that she has cheated multiple times, your first instinct might be to ask why. But the real answer is not found in her words, it is found in how she explains her actions. Pay close attention to whether she takes full responsibility or whether she subtly shifts the blame. Does she frame her infidelity as something that just happened, as if she had no control? Does she justify it by saying that her past relationships were unsatisfying, that her partners were neglectful, or that she was simply caught up in the moment? A person who truly regrets their mistakes acknowledges them without excuses. But a woman who downplays her cheating or rationalizes it is not admitting to a past error, she is exposing an ongoing mindset. A woman who has cheated multiple times does not see betrayal as a serious moral failure. To her, it is not about right or wrong, it is about whether the circumstances justify it. Maybe she felt unappreciated. Maybe she was bored. Maybe she convinced herself that she deserved more than what she was getting. Regardless of the reasoning, the core issue remains the same. She believes that her emotional desires take precedence over loyalty. And if she has cheated before, under the right conditions, she will do it again. Some men fall into the trap of believing that they will be different. They think that if they give her enough attention, if they meet all her emotional needs, if they prove that they are better than her exes, she will never feel the urge to cheat. This is a lie. A woman's past actions are the clearest indicators of her future choices. If she has already proven that she is willing to betray someone who trusted her, why would you think that trust will mean anything when it comes to you? A man who believes he is the exception to the rule is simply setting himself up to be the next fool in line. Cheating is not just about physical betrayal, it is about integrity. It is about a person's ability to control their impulses, to remain loyal even when temptation arises, and to respect the bond they have chosen to create with another person. A woman who has repeatedly broken that bond has already shown you that she does not see relationships as sacred. She sees them as something she can abandon the moment they no longer serve her. This is not a person who builds strong foundations, it is a person who destroys them. A Stoic man does not waste his time trying to fix a woman with a history of cheating. He does not let his ego convince him that he can be the one to change her. He understands that people's actions are a reflection of their principles, and if a woman has repeatedly chosen betrayal over honesty, then that is the principle she lives by. He does not entertain the illusion that love, effort, or devotion can rewrite someone's character. He knows that a woman who truly values loyalty does not need to be taught its importance. It is already a part of her. The only question left is whether you will ignore the red flag or recognize it for what it is. If you continue forward, believing that you are somehow immune to the fate of those before you, you are not practicing wisdom, you are practicing self-deception. A woman who has cheated more than once has already shown you who she is. And when someone shows you who they are, the wise man does not argue. He listens. And he walks away. Chapter 3. I get whatever I want. A woman who proudly declares that she always gets her way is not revealing confidence, she is revealing entitlement. This is not the mentality of someone who works hard, earns respect, or values mutual effort. Instead, it is the mindset of someone who sees life as something that should be handed to her on a silver platter. And if she believes this about the world, she will believe it about relationships as well. She is not looking for a partnership, she is looking for someone who will indulge her every whim, no matter the cost. At first, this mentality may seem harmless or even playful. She might say it with a smirk, laughing as if it is just part of her bold personality. In the early stages of dating, this confidence can even seem attractive. Many men mistake it for charm, believing that they're dealing with a woman who simply knows what she wants. But beneath the surface, entitlement is not an attractive trait, it is a warning sign of someone who expects to be treated like royalty without offering anything in return. Over time, you will begin to see the pattern. She will not just expect kindness, generosity, or respect, she will demand it. She will not ask for things, she will assume they are hers by default. And when you do not cater to her expectations, she will test you. She may start with subtle manipulations, like pouting when she does not get her way, using passive-aggressive comments, or acting distant until you make things right. If you give in, she will see it as confirmation that you can be controlled. And if you do not, she will escalate, making it seem as though you are the unreasonable one. This kind of woman does not handle rejection well. She is used to getting her way, and when that does not happen, she will see it as an attack on her self-worth. She may resort to guilt-tripping, emotional outbursts, or even threats of ending the relationship. She wants to create an environment where you are constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of upsetting her, afraid of saying no. The moment you start adjusting your behavior just to avoid conflict, she has already won. A relationship with a woman like this is a slow descent into submission. At first, the demands may seem small, choosing restaurants she likes, adjusting plans to fit her schedule, letting her have the final say in small disagreements. But entitlement does not stay small. It grows. Soon, she will expect larger sacrifices. She will want you to change your priorities, abandon your boundaries, and prove your devotion by bending to her every demand. It is never enough. A woman who believes she deserves everything will never be satisfied with anything. A Stoic man does not entertain entitlement. He recognizes it as a destructive force that erodes respect, balance, and peace. He does not mistake selfishness for strength. He understands that a healthy relationship is built on mutual effort, not one-sided submission. And he does not allow himself to be manipulated into playing the role of a provider for someone who sees him as nothing more than a tool for her desires. When a woman declares, "I get whatever I want," she is not making a joke. She is giving you a glimpse into her mentality. She is telling you that compromise is not in her vocabulary, that your needs will always come second, and that she sees relationships as a means to fulfill her own desires, not as a partnership of equals. A Stoic man does not ignore this red flag. He does not try to rationalize it, excuse it, or believe that he can handle it. He simply walks away, knowing that true attraction is built on mutual respect, not submission to someone's unchecked demands. Chapter 4. I don't have any girlfriends. When a woman says she has no female friends, many men mistakenly take it as a sign of uniqueness. They assume she must be different from other women, more laid back, less dramatic, or simply not like the rest. But this is rarely the truth. Instead, it is a glaring sign of dysfunction. Healthy people maintain healthy relationships. If every friendship she has had with other women has ended in betrayal, jealousy, or conflict, she is the common denominator. There is a reason she cannot form lasting bonds, and it has nothing to do with other women being too dramatic. The truth is, long-term friendships require many of the same qualities as long-term romantic relationships: loyalty, emotional stability, self-awareness, and the ability to resolve conflicts without burning bridges. If a woman has a history of cutting people out of her life over petty disagreements, constantly finding herself in feuds, or always shifting the blame onto others, this pattern will not stop with her friendships. It will inevitably carry over into her romantic relationships as well. Men who ignore this warning sign often find themselves on the receiving end of the same instability. She may seem like the perfect partner at first, but over time, her inability to maintain relationships will surface, and the same issues that ended her friendships will start to appear between the two of you. Another problem with a woman who has no female friends is that she lacks a support system outside of her romantic relationships. This means she will lean entirely on you for emotional validation, entertainment, and social engagement. At first, this might feel flattering. She prioritizes you, she always wants to be with you, she seems fully invested. But over time, this kind of dependence can become suffocating. A healthy relationship allows both partners to maintain their own friendships, interests, and lives outside of one another. When a woman has no female friendships, she will expect you to fill every emotional void in her life, and that burden will become overwhelming. Many of these women will claim that other women simply do not like them. They will say that female friendships are too complicated, that other women are jealous of them, or that they have been backstabbed too many times. But this is rarely the full story. Women who struggle with maintaining friendships often have deep-seated issues that make them difficult to be around, whether it's excessive gossip, insecurity, manipulation, or an inability to handle conflict maturely. If she has left a trail of broken friendships behind her, there is a high chance she will bring that same chaos into your life. A Stoic man does not ignore the patterns in a woman's life. He understands that people's past behaviors are the strongest indicators of their future actions. He does not convince himself that he will be the exception, that she will suddenly become a stable, reliable partner just because they share romantic feelings. A woman who cannot maintain friendships is often someone who thrives on conflict, creates unnecessary drama, or refuses to take accountability for her actions. And a Stoic man knows better than to entangle himself with someone who sees every failed relationship as someone else's fault. When a woman tells you she has no female friends, do not take it lightly. It is not a sign of independence, nor is it proof that she is one of the guys. It is a sign that she may be incapable of maintaining meaningful, long-term relationships. And if she cannot do it with other women, what makes you think she can do it with you? A Stoic man recognizes this as a red flag and does not mistake isolation for innocence. He sees the warning for what it is, an early glimpse into the emotional storms that lie ahead. And rather than stepping into the chaos, he chooses peace and walks away before he becomes the next person she leaves behind. Chapter 5. Buy me a drink. A woman's first interaction with you should not be based on what you can provide for her. The moment she expects you to pay for something without any real conversation, she is testing you not just to see if you'll comply, but to gauge how much you value yourself. Some men don't think twice about this. They buy the drink, thinking it's harmless, a small price to pay for a potential connection. But this is not about the drink, it's about what it represents. A woman who begins an interaction with a demand is revealing a transactional mindset. And once you set the precedent that you are willing to pay for attention, the expectations only grow. This small request is a glimpse into a much larger mentality. She is not interested in getting to know you, she is interested in what she can extract from you. Today, it's a drink. Tomorrow, it's a gift. Eventually, it's an entire lifestyle built around what you can provide for her. Some men justify this by saying, it's just how dating works. But that is a lie. Real relationships are built on mutual respect, not on financial transactions disguised as romance. A woman who sees men as sources of resources rather than as individuals will always view relationships as a means to an end. If you entertain this behavior, you are setting yourself up for a dynamic where your worth is measured not by your character, but by your ability to provide. This mindset is dangerous because it creates an imbalance in the relationship from the very beginning. If a woman values you only for what you can give her, she will never truly respect you. She may act affectionate when you are providing, but the moment you stop, her interest fades. A Stoic man does not seek validation through generosity. He does not attempt to impress with material things. He knows that true connection is built on values, character, and shared experiences, not money. He recognizes the warning signs early and does not make excuses for them. If a woman's first instinct is to test what she can take rather than what she can offer, he does not engage. He does not argue or try to change her mindset. He simply walks away, knowing that his worth is not up for negotiation. Chapter 6. My ex was crazy. When a woman constantly refers to her ex as crazy, toxic, or a narcissist, she is not just giving you insight into her past, she is revealing how she perceives relationships. At first, it might sound like she is a victim of unfortunate circumstances, someone who simply had the misfortune of dating the wrong men. She may speak in a way that invites your sympathy, painting herself as the innocent party who was unfairly treated. But a Stoic man does not take words at face value. He understands that perception is shaped by one's own actions and choices. And if every man she has ever been with was insane, the common denominator is her. This phrase is often a shield, a way to deflect accountability. Instead of acknowledging her role in the failure of her past relationships, she shifts all blame onto her exes. This is not just a warning sign about her past, it's a warning about her future. Because a woman who refuses to take responsibility for her own patterns is doomed to repeat them. She has learned nothing. She has grown in no way. And the same drama she claims to have escaped will inevitably resurface in her next relationship. If she was truly mistreated, the next logical question is, why did she stay? Why did she repeat the same mistakes? A person who has been genuinely wronged learns from that experience and makes changes. They adjust their boundaries, develop better judgment, and take responsibility for their own role in allowing certain behaviors. But if she refuses to reflect on her own patterns and instead clings to the narrative that she was merely a helpless victim, she has not matured emotionally. Instead, she remains in a cycle of blame, refusing to grow or evolve. A Stoic man listens carefully to how a woman speaks about her past. If she constantly demonizes her exes but never mentions what she learned, what she could have done differently, or how she has changed, it is a clear sign that she is still emotionally stuck. And here's the real danger: the way she talks about them now is exactly how she will talk about you later. The moment your relationship with her takes a turn, she will use the same language. Today, her ex is the villain. Tomorrow, it could be you. But there is another layer to this manipulation. Many women who use this phrase are not just telling a story, they are testing you. When she brings up her crazy ex, she wants to see how you react. If you immediately side with her, offering comfort and agreeing that she was the victim, you fall into her trap. You become the man who is supposed to prove he is better than the ones before. She sets the bar, and you are expected to constantly meet it, to always be the good guy, in contrast to her terrible exes. But here's the problem. This is an impossible standard. The moment you do something she does not like, the moment you show an ounce of independence or push back against her expectations, she will shift the narrative. She will start to view you as just another crazy ex in the making. A Stoic man does not fall into this emotional game. He does not rush to rescue someone from their past, nor does he allow himself to be compared to other men. He recognizes that a high-value partner is one who can self-reflect, who understands her own flaws, and who does not constantly dwell on past relationships. A woman who has truly moved on will not feel the need to bring up her exes constantly. She will not speak about them with bitterness or resentment, but with the wisdom of someone who has learned valuable lessons and grown stronger from experience. When a woman clings to the idea that all her exes were crazy, it often means she has unresolved emotional baggage. She may be addicted to drama, unable to function in a peaceful relationship. She may need a villain in her life to justify her own mistakes. Or she may simply be seeking a new man to play the role of her savior, the one who will fix the damage done by all those terrible men before you. But a Stoic man knows that a relationship built on fixing someone else's problems is doomed from the start. A woman who cannot move forward emotionally will always be stuck in a cycle of blame. She will never take responsibility for her own actions, never acknowledge her own flaws, and never truly learn from her mistakes. And a man who involves himself with her will eventually find himself in the same position as the exes she speaks so poorly of. It is only a matter of time before she turns her narrative against him. A Stoic man does not allow himself to be the next target. He does not ignore red flags simply because a woman's words sound convincing. He observes, he questions, and most importantly, he understands that a healthy relationship is built on emotional maturity, not on victimhood and blame. He seeks a woman who has grown from her past, not one who is still living in it. Chapter 7. I deserve a man who. Whenever a woman starts a sentence with "I deserve a man who," pay close attention to what follows. This phrase is more than just words, it is a window into her mindset. It often reveals an entitlement mentality, an expectation that a man must meet her demands rather than a recognition of what she brings to the table. A woman who constantly speaks in terms of what she deserves is not looking for a partner, she is looking for a provider, a servant, or a status symbol. She sees relationships not as a union between two people, but as a transactional arrangement where she benefits and the man must qualify. Of course, having standards is not a red flag. Everyone should have non-negotiables when it comes to relationships. But there is a stark difference between having standards and harboring entitlement. A Stoic man understands that true relationships are built on mutual respect, shared values, and reciprocal effort, not one-sided expectations. When a woman continuously lists her requirements for a man, his income, his appearance, his lifestyle, without ever mentioning what she is willing to offer in return, it reveals a fundamental imbalance. Such a mindset suggests that she sees relationships as a means to an end rather than a journey of companionship and mutual growth. This phrase often acts as a shield for deeper insecurities. A woman who frequently declares what she deserves may be overcompensating for what she lacks. She may be struggling in her own life, financially, emotionally, or socially, but rather than working on herself, she externalizes her dissatisfaction. Instead of focusing on self-improvement, she shifts the responsibility onto a man, expecting him to solve her problems simply by existing in her life. This is a dangerous dynamic. A Stoic man does not fall into this trap. He understands that a relationship should be a partnership, not a rescue mission. He does not see himself as someone's financial plan, emotional crutch, or social upgrade. He seeks a woman who takes ownership of her own life rather than one who waits for someone else to elevate it. Another major issue with this phrase is that it sets a relationship up for failure before it even begins. A woman who thinks like this often has an ever-expanding list of expectations that no man can fully satisfy. No matter what you do, it will never be enough. You will always be in a position where you must prove yourself, earn her approval, and meet an ever-growing set of demands. This is not love, this is control masquerading as high standards. A man in such a relationship will feel like he is on a constant treadmill, always running but never arriving. No amount of effort will ever fulfill her because she is not actually looking for a partner, she is looking for perfection, and perfection does not exist. Beyond the unrealistic expectations, this mindset also lacks gratitude. A woman who constantly fixates on what she deserves rarely acknowledges what she has. She does not appreciate effort, she measures it. She does not build with a man, she assesses whether he meets her criteria. This kind of thinking creates resentment over time. A man who constantly feels unappreciated will eventually withdraw, realizing that no matter what he does, it will never be reciprocated in the way he hopes. A relationship devoid of gratitude is a relationship doomed to fail. Love is not about keeping score, it is about growing together. When one person is focused only on what they are receiving rather than what they're giving, the foundation of the relationship becomes unstable. A high-value woman, on the other hand, does not need to announce what she deserves. She embodies it. She knows her worth but also recognizes the worth of her partner. She does not expect a man to complete her, she expects him to walk beside her as an equal. She values mutual respect, shared goals, and genuine connection over arbitrary checklists and status markers. A Stoic man seeks this kind of balance. He does not entertain women who view men as stepping stones to a better life. He is not interested in being good enough for someone who sees love as a series of conditions to be met. He chooses a woman who values character over status, respect over demands, and growth over entitlement. In the end, a successful relationship is not about what you think you deserve. It is about what you are willing to build together. A woman who is truly relationship-ready does not sit around making demands, she actively contributes to the partnership. She understands that love is not about receiving, but about giving and growing. And a Stoic man, wise in his understanding of human nature, does not waste his time proving himself to someone who only measures his worth in what he can provide. Instead, he builds a life with a woman who shares his vision, respects his efforts, and reciprocates his commitment. That is the foundation of a relationship that lasts. A Stoic man does not ignore red flags. He does not let emotions blind him to the truth, nor does he waste his time trying to fix what cannot be fixed. The words a woman speaks are not just casual phrases, they are insights into her mindset, her values, and the way she approaches relationships. A man who understands this does not fall into the traps of manipulation, entitlement, or chaos. He walks away before he becomes another casualty of someone else's unresolved issues. If you recognize any of these red flags, take them seriously. A high-value man does not compromise his peace for temporary pleasure. He does not chase a woman who expects him to prove his worth over and over again. He does not engage with someone who cannot take responsibility for her past or who sees relationships as a game to be won. Instead, he moves with intention. He seeks a partner, not a burden. He builds a life based on respect, self-mastery, and inner strength. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you encountered any of these red flags in your own experiences? What are some warning signs you've learned to never ignore? Let me know in the comments. And if you found value in this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and always choose wisdom over impulse. I'll see you in the next one.